Howdy, y'all. Caleb here, and we're talking Saurus Warriors. This is a question I get a lot. Do I take spears or clubs on the Saurus Warriors? And with the new coherency rules in Age of Sigmar 3.0, I think we can unequivocally say spears. We've lost a couple things that really made the Saurus Warriors kind of, I don't want to say shine, but made them a lot better in the previous edition. And some of those were Warscroll battalions, where you could give either rend to the jaws or an extra pip of rend to the clubs or to the Celestite weapons. And so that was nice because you could either get rend on the spears or have -2 rend clubs. And so that was pretty awesome. We've lost all that. And now unit coherency means that a unit of 10 Saurus Warriors are generally fighting, 5 in the front, 5 in the back. You can finagle it a little bit, but you'll waste so much time it's not even worth it. So just find them rank and file. It's much easier. It saves everybody time, but generally it's going to be a lot harder to fight with these guys. Previously, the clubs could do a little bit better in MSU units, not much, but because you had that rend. Now you'll get more attacks from the spears. So I'll save you the time. Spears. We are going to get into some good tech though, so don't click away yet. Let's look at the Warscroll first. They do have a movement of 5, 1 wound each, 4 up save, 8 bravery. Their clubs are 1-inch range, which is unfortunate because these guys are on 32 mil bases, which means you're only going to fight with the front row for clubs. On 4s and 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage. Spears are 2-inch range. That's great. On 4s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage. And then you get jaws, 1 attack, 5s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. A couple things to note here. We do have an alpha, which counts as a champion. The champion rules are a little vague, but that will let us do command points and such on this unit. We also have an icon bearer, which subtracts 1 from the bravery of enemy units that are close to these. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. And we got War Drummer, which lets us reroll charges. These guys aren't exactly that fast, so maybe that'll help you get places if you need to. The biggest one is +1 to attacks. +1 to attack characteristics for the clubs or spears if you have 15 or more in this unit. And so that really helps us get extra attacks, especially when you're looking at those spears. You're fighting with the second row, and now you're getting 2 attacks for each model. You're really able to get quite a few attacks coming out. And so that is good. Let's look at the our damage output here. This is just for 10 Saurus Warriors. With the clubs, you're only going to be attacking with 5 generally. You can get a few more, but to be honest, it's not even worth it. This is laughably bad. 1.5 damage versus a 4-up save. Even with that rend, it's just you're not getting much through. 10 Saurus Warriors with spears. Also, I mean, to be honest, it's not that much better. You're getting 2 damage through. This is, again, with no rend. So if it has a good save, they're just going to laugh all that off. So not very good damage. If you're bringing these in minimum units, they're really just there to take up space. If you're summoning them in from the Engine of the Gods, they're just there to take up space, score objectives, get in the way, screen, that type of thing. So MSU units really aren't worth buffing up. But if we get a little bit better, we get 30 Saurus Warriors, so they're getting that +1 to their attacks. Your clubs are still only going to be attacking 1 rank deep. Let's pretend we have all 10 attacking. So we have, 10, 10, 10. Only that front row is going to get to attack. And you're still only getting 5 damage through. This is for 315 points currently. That's a lot of points for not a lot of damage. We also have 30 Saurus Warriors with spears. We're able to fight with a 2nd rank with the spears. And so you are throwing a lot of dice, but you're still, with no rend, you're only getting 7.5 damage through. That's pretty bad for 300 plus points. And so you have to buff these guys up. Luckily, you can buff up the Saurus Warriors, and fairly easily. So here is, I think, what would be my ideal situation. And so let's look down here at the buffs. So we're in Coalesce, so we get +1 to the jaw attacks. So we're getting 2 jaw attacks. We're getting 2 Celestite attacks for each of those. So we're pumping out 4 attacks per model. In Kotal's Claw, you'd get +1 to hit on the charge. So that's just kind of a free bonus. If you're charging these guys in, then you're getting that free bonus. A Scar Vet can give them exploding 6s to hit. And so that'll get you you're trying to get that dice train rolling. You're getting more and more dice going. A Skink Star Priest, or really any Skink Wizard, no, just a Skink Star Priest for this one, will give the 6s to wound or a mortal wound. And really, this is, the Skink Star Priest is amazing. He's in just about every list Seraphon brings. But with this number of attacks going out, you're wanting this Skink Star Priest to give you those mortals. And so it is on the wound rolls, so you have to get past that hit roll, which can be difficult, especially when these aren't hitting that great. But in Kotal's Claw, you could get them down to 3s, or with a command point, you could get them down to 3s to hit. Hand of Glory is a great spell. You can take that on any of the Skink Wizards, and that will let you reroll hit rolls of 1. There aren't a lot of rerolls left in the game, and when you're throwing this many dice, reroll hit rolls of 1 will really help you get a few more through. So you can see our damage output here with the clubs. That it's really starting to differentiate itself. You're only getting 17, almost 18 through on a 4-up, but you're looking at 25 with the spears. And so you're seeing that big difference, almost 10 wound difference being made on those spears. And it doesn't really fall off too far if they're spending a command point to go down to a 3-up save. You're still able to get a lot of mortals through. And even if you're looking at that 2-up, that Star Priest is doing work with all those mortals, and you're able to get quite a few through. They will still fail some saves, so even on a 2-up. So if you can just throw a ton of dice at them, which is what this would, then you're able to get some damage through. So you're talking 660 points for that. You've got a Scar Vet, a Star Priest, and 30 Warriors. That's a lot. You're putting some buffs in there. They're still taking a lot of wounds, and that's a lot of models to actually get through for the opponent. And you still got your Scar Vet who can come in and clean up whatever the Warriors don't finish off. So a great combination. You can double this up in a Kotal's Claw list. You could take 60 Warriors, 2 Scar Vets, 2 Star Priests, and you still have points to spend on something that's fun. So not a bad combination there. One of the things that I think I like running a lot with my Warriors is running them as like a super Anvil. And what I mean by that is we're looking at the coalesced -1 to damage trait, and we're really just trying to double down on that. So these Warriors, they do have a 4-up save, and so there's a lot of easy ways to stack saves in Age of Sigmar 3.0. Now you can only go so far down, they're only ever going to have a 3-up save because you can only ever go +1, but you can negate a lot of rend. So if you're fighting somebody who has a lot of rend, and there's going to be a lot more rend in these upcoming books, I guarantee you, then it's useful to get these extra saves on it. So we started a 4-up save. We're already -1 to damage from Coalesced. So you're looking to throw these Warriors into something that's an elite model that has 2 damage, 3 damage, something like that that's coming in. You want to reduce that down. I'm taking a Slán Starmaster, which you're probably going to have in your list anyway, to cast my Mystic Shield, but also has a great command trait, which is Gift of Heavens, which gives another +1 to save and fly for some reason, but +1 to save versus shooting. And so now with Mystic Shield and this Gift of Heavens, you're at +2 to save versus shooting. So you're going to be a lot less likely to have these Warriors be shot at. And there's a lot of shooting in this game right now. There's going to be a lot less likely to shoot these Warriors to try to wear them down. I also love the Skink Star Seer. Great utility piece. Gives you command points, has a fantastic spell. And that is a +1 to save if you're casting it onto your friendly units. Or you can cast it onto the enemy and give them -1 to save, which all of a sudden gives those spears, it essentially gives those spears -1 rend. And so now those Warriors are actually going to be doing quite a bit more damage if you can get that spell off. But in this, I'm looking at giving another +1 to save. And then, of course, we've always got all-out defense, which you can spend that command point in shooting or combat. And since we're not using, none of these other abilities are using a command point in either one of those phases, you can pop that onto the same unit. And so you're really making these 30 wounds of Warriors quite difficult to get through. Throw whatever Ren you want at me. I'm gonna ignore that and be rolling on 3-ups. There's also some great abilities, and the reason why I'd want to take this in a big unit of 30, and that is that rally command ability that happens in the hero phase. you can rally and you'll roll a dice for every model that's been slain, and on 6 up they return. And so you're able to return some warriors for 1 command point, which we're going to be swimming in command points, especially with these skink priests generating command points for us. A great use of a command point for a big unit of 30 like this. Also, the Life Swarm, the Emerald Life Swarm, is a great spell in that it's going to return D3 when you cast it, and then when it moves, it's going to get another D3. And these are only 1 wound warriors, and so you're going to be bringing anywhere from 2 to 6 warriors back from that spell. So a great little ability to just kind of pile on those extra bodies that are going to be coming back. So in a Super Anvil warrior, you're looking at 30 wounds at +3 or +4 to save, depending on which phase you're in, and -1 to the damage. So if you had the ideal situation where something's attacking you, they have, their attacks are 3s and 3s, -2 Ren, 2 damage. They're going to need to put in about 200 attacks into this unit to clear them. So as long as you put this anvil into the right place at the right time, they're going to be very hard to clear. And you're going to be able to bring them back if you can get that return of models going with Rally and Life Swarm. So a really fun way to run that. And I like to put these, and if you're running the Anvil, you don't have to put them into Kotal's Claw. If you're not trying to get the super buff damage out of them, they can go into other sub-factions. I've got a sample list for you here, and this is in Thunder Lizards. This is one I like to run, and I'm going to include a big horde of warriors in my Thunder Lizards list. And so here we've got a Scar Veteran on Carnosaur. He's going to be my general with War Spear, Prime War Beast, and Amulet of Destiny. That gives him a 5-up ward save, makes that Scar Vet tougher. He'll stick around a little bit longer, and Prime War Beast lets him add additional mountain attacks. So I really like that one. Engine of the Gods, we got the Fusel of Conflagration on, and a Starmaster, Salon Starmaster. So these two together are going to actually generate me some more warriors probably. And so double tap that engine to see if you can get some more warriors going on the table. That will really dishearten your opponent when they've tried to work their way through this horde and you're bringing them back. They're not going to be part of that same buffed up unit, but you'll be bringing back more warriors. I've got a Star Priest for Hand of Glory and a Star Seer with Celestial Harmony. My Celestial Equilibrium is a nice spell to include on this because that will give +1 to the cast for the Star Priest and the Star Seer. And so that is pretty nice. Hand of Glory is that reroll hit rolls of 1, and Celestial Harmony actually just will let us ignore Battle Shock for the Warriors. I'm probably never going to be rolling that though because the Star Seer spell is so good. But if you end up not up against a lot of Rend, you might use that Battle Shock instead of the extra +1 to save. Or throw that extra +1 to save onto something else, like one of your Stegodons or something. So I am taking 30 Saurus Warriors with Spears, 10 Saurus Warriors. I have on here clubs. Really, that should be spears. Just take the spears. They're all around just better. They're going to be more useful. I do have a Stegodon since we're in Thunder Lizards. That's a nice battle line piece, and a Bastiladon to provide us with some shooting. So you've kind of got your different groups here. You've got your warriors that you're going to buff up big, go throw them into something that you want to choke up. You want to hold a command point or an objective for a while. You've also got your engine, a Stegodon, and a Bastiladon as your monsters are kind of charge forward. They're going to do great shooting, and then the Stegodons and engine can do some damage in melee. And then you've got your Scar Veteran prowling around on the outskirts if it needs to, or it can, with the Star Priest, buff up those warriors if you really need to do some damage. And so it's a pretty fun little list here. I've also got Emerald Life Swarm to help me bring back those warriors, or I can heal up my monsters if I need to. So I'm still bringing in 4 monsters, but I'm also bringing in a nice horde as well as 3 strong casters for me here. So you got some play in all phases. I am taking that in a command entourage. So I get the extra artifact and battle regiment, which gets me down to 4 drops. So a 4-drop list isn't too shabby here with this. So I like that a lot. It's a pretty fun little list we got going on here. And I think I like the Warriors as an anvil. Some of my lists, I take a lot of monsters in my lists, and so these Warriors provide that horde that some people are going to have trouble dealing with. But also, I can get great saves, and that -1 damage in Coalesce is just so perfect for a lot of things that people are bringing that have multi-damage attacks on them. And these warriors will do a great job at handling that. They won't always do great damage output, but you can buff them up pretty good. So let me know how you're taking your warriors. Do you have all yours as spears? Or like me, do you have, what do I think I've got 80 warriors, all with clubs. Yep. That was back in my days where I was running 4 engines of the gods and like spamming summoning, and so I'd bring in a bunch of warriors that way. And so, oh man, I really need to replace them all with spears, but I'm not sure I have those bits left anymore. All right, guys, that's Saurus Warriors. Take spears if you got them. Otherwise, run them as an anvil. Pump up those saves. All right, we'll see you guys later.